I'd like to talk a little bit more about Engage, the reason that we're all here today. Engage is the consultation and networking strand of our National Development Programme. The National Development Programme began in year 2000 with 5 regions taking part. That was the North East, Yorkshire, the North West, the West Midlands and the South East. At this stage there were 5 part-time regional development workers for each of those regions. The pilots had different degrees of success, but resulted in a very strong network emerging in the North West. In 2003, NAYT became a regularly funded organisation of Arts Council England, and that allowed us to restructure the National Development Programme. The additional funding allowed us to employ a full-time projects producer, which is Lisa, who I introduced to earlier, and we were able then to roll out a new programme in every region. The first stage of the new programme has taken us 18 months because we've delivered consultation and training events in each of the 9 regions of England. And the map there shows you where those consultation events happened. The idea behind the regional consultation was for us to work with youth theatres at a local level to establish their needs and to encourage a network group or groups to meet regularly to begin to work together to address those needs. We strongly encourage the regions to create these network groups because we believe that a sector that can unite, that can organise itself, will be a stronger, more sustainable sector. To date, however, there remains only 1 strong network in the North West and the beginnings of 2 more in the West Midlands and the North East. The current capacity of NAYT doesn't allow us for ongoing regional coordination, and for a number of reasons the sector themselves are struggling to coordinate the establishment of the groups. The consultation details then. NAYT currently has 901 registered groups, and they're shown by the white dots on the map. Now those groups are people that engage with us at different levels. Some of those people may simply just access our website or receive our newsletter. Some of those come to our events regularly, but it's quite an impressive spread. The black dots show you the spread of the organisations who attended the regional Engage events. The findings from each region were very similar, and there's a clear and obvious message coming from the youth theatre sector. The general outcomes highlight a need to define quality and establish criteria for achieving quality. Well, we're already beginning to do that, and that's why Jonathan Nealons is here with us today. We're working with Jonathan and CEDA, University of Warwick, on a research programme which is looking at quality and excellence and inclusion in youth theatre. There's a need to raise the profile of youth theatre generally, and a need to give status and profile to youth theatre as an art form in its own right. There's a need to give status, profile and support and training to youth theatre directors and practitioners. There is a need to establish focused and motivated regional network groups to combat isolation and increase partnership working and interagency working, one of the reasons we're here today. The specific outcomes fall into 4 main categories. The first is training, networking and skill sharing. These cover things that came out in this category, things like access to more training, but not just in art form, in policy. Access to industry-specific training, things like manual handling, health and safety backstage, and performance licensing for young people. There needs to be a development of a specific training programme and a qualification to become a youth theatre leader, and more opportunities for skill sharing and networking events both on a regional and national level. The third category was outreach and inclusion, and again there was a strong emphasis on the need for training and the need for partnerships. Youth theatres want to run outreach programmes, but they need partners in order to do it. They also need case studies, the creation of case studies and the dissemination of case studies which show successful models. Youth theatres ask for support in making their youth theatres more inclusive and in addressing the waiting list issue. Many youth theatres have a massive waiting list. The demand to take part in youth theatre exceeds the supply that we've got. Establishing a sustainable youth theatres in rural communities was another concern. And the fourth category was resources. And these included things like funding. People want more funding, but more accessible funding that is there specifically for the diverse range of work and outcomes that youth theatre delivers. Other resource issues were things like access to performance spaces, but not just any old spaces and not ones that are really expensive to hire. So they need to be affordable and they need to be appropriate for use and they need not to alienate young people. Access to equipment, for example, costume, lighting, seating, staging, things that came from there. That was, I think I said that was the fourth, and it was not the third. The last one, artist and creative development. Recognition and acknowledgement of young people as artists. That's very high on the agenda. Opportunities for artists to develop facilitation skills. Increase young people's access to a wider range of artists. And an awareness of how youth theatres can find appropriate artists to work with them. The sector needs regional network coordinators to be able to deliver the issues that we've just talked about. We think that NAYT is best placed to implement and oversee the national structure, but we need the support of large-scale investment in terms of both cash and appropriate partnerships. Those four main categories will form the basis of the breakout group sessions this afternoon, where you're going to be asked to put together an action plan which will address some of those issues. I'd like to just draw your attention to one of the pages in your packs, in your delegate packs, that highlight the benefits of participating in youth theatre. When you're a youth theatre practitioner, the benefits are so obvious to you that they often become invisible. So I've included this page in the pack. It's intended as an aid to help you, to help other people understand the importance of what it's all about. Before I hand you over to the guest speakers, I'd just like to emphasise one very important point. Participation in youth theatre is not a preparation for drama school, nor is it a preparation for a career on or behind the stage. There's much talk around at the moment about young emerging artists, about progression routes into the industry, and about preparing young people today to be artists and audiences of the future. This is not what youth theatre is about. There's also much talk of talent coming from our Prime Minister, himself a self-confessed addict of the Saturday night talent show. Each to their own. But please, let's not allow cheap light entertainment to so blatantly influence education and employment policy. Youth theatre allows a young person to engage in a process of personal development and discovery. It's a journey which takes place over a sustained period of time, and it's in danger of being undervalued in an association with talent shows and talent spotting. The true meaning of the word talent is about ability and aptitude. It's about the capacity for achievement or success, and it's not something that can be nurtured by parading it in front of a panel of judges. A very small percentage of young people who take part in youth theatre actually want to continue into a theatre in the arts, a career in theatre or the arts. Young people who participate in youth theatre are young artists in the here and now. They're creating and performing work now, and we must acknowledge their ability and their contribution to the theatre world. A young person might write a play or give a spectacular performance aged 15, and we label them emerging. They may never go on to write another play, and they may never perform in a public or professional arena again, but the impact that their contribution has made aged 15 is still worthy. We must also respect and acknowledge young people as audiences in their own right. The notion of preparing young people as audiences of the future is a ridiculous one. Theatres have got to engage with young people now. Youth theatres are engaging with young people as contemporary theatre makers, and they need to be provided with challenging and inspirational reference points as theatre goers to inform and shape their work. Thank you.